Good day everyone. I am Abdul A. Carnites, a B.Ed 4th year student from Norsu Shuttle Campus. For today's presentation, I will be discussing a topic under Unit 1, Theory to Practice Observing Learners and Classrooms in the Philippine Education System. Our topic is all about learners' behavior and motivation, specifically understanding learners' needs. As future teachers, it is important for us to remember that learners do not enter the classroom with only academic needs. They also have physical, emotional, social, and psychological needs that can affect how they behave, participate, and learn. So in this pre-recorded presentation, we will discuss why understanding learners' needs is important and how Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs can help us understand learner behavior and motivation in the classroom. But before that, here is our learning objectives. So why is it important to understand learners' needs? According to Tomlinson, understanding our students' needs and interests also allow us to provide targeted support and intervention when necessary. So this means that teachers need to know their learners because not all learners have the same needs, experiences, interests, or challenges. For example, if a learner is having difficulty participating in class, we should not immediately assume that the learner is lazy or uninterested. There could be something behind the behavior. Maybe the learner is tired, worried, uncomfortable, afraid of making mistakes, or having difficulty connecting with classmates. By understanding the learner's needs, the teacher can provide the appropriate support instead of simply judging the behavior. For example, if a learner appears tired and cannot concentrate, the teacher may check on the learner and provide an appropriate break or other support. Therefore, understanding learners helps teachers respond to their needs more effectively. According to Educational Innovation 360 2023, this can also help to make learning more engaging and relevant, as students are more likely to be motivated when they see the value in what they are learning. So this means that learners are more likely to participate when they can connect the lesson to their interests, experiences, and needs. For example, if a teacher knows that learners are interested in their community, the teacher can use examples or activities connected to their local experiences. When learners can see the connection between the lesson and their own lives, they may become more interested and motivated to participate. So as future teachers, we should ask not only what do I need to teach, but also what do my learners need in order to learn effectively. Now let's move on to Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow lived from 1908 to 1970. He was an American psychologist and was one of the psychologists associated with the development of humanistic psychology. In 1943, Maslow presented his well-known theory, a theory of human motivation. His theory explains that people have different needs that influence their behavior and motivation. This idea became known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For teachers, this theory can provide a useful way of thinking about why learners may behave differently in the classroom. Maslow's hierarchy of needs presents 5 levels of human needs: physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. The first levels are mainly related to basic needs, while the higher levels involve social connection, confidence, personal growth, and reaching one's potential. However, we should remember that learners do not always move through these needs in a perfectly fixed order. The hierarchy is best used as a framework for understanding motivation and behavior. Now let us discuss each level and connect it to the classroom. So first we have the physiological needs. Physiological needs include food, water, rest, health, and other basic physical needs. These are our most basic physical needs. So imagine if a learner who comes to class without eating breakfast and stayed awake late at night. During the lesson, the learner may look tired, have difficulty concentrating, or make mistakes even when the activity is relatively simple. The learner may not be lacking ability. Instead, their physical condition may be affecting their ability to participate and learn. This is why physiological needs are important in education. Another example is when a learner keeps putting their head down on the desk and is unable to focus. Instead of immediately saying you are not paying attention, the teacher can first check what may be happening. The learner may be tired, hungry, or feeling unwell. As teachers, we can allow appropriate short breaks where necessary, allow reasonable water breaks, observe signs of fatigue or illness, and check on learners who appear physically uncomfortable. The goal is not to excuse learners from learning, but to recognize that physical well-being can affect their readiness to learn. The second level is safety needs. Safety involves security, stability, protection, structure, and having a safe environment. So, learners need to feel safe enough to participate in the classroom. Safety is not only about physical safety. It can also include emotional and psychological safety. For example, imagine a learner who knows the answer but refuses to raise their hand because classmates laugh whenever they make a mistake. So whenever the learner may become afraid to participate because they expect a negative reaction. Another example is when the learner are constantly teased or ridiculed for giving incorrect answers. Some may simply stop volunteering. They may think, what if my answer is wrong and everyone laughs at me? As a result, they may become quiet even when they actually understand the lesson. Teachers can help by establishing clear classroom rules, preventing bullying and ridicule, encouraging respectful communication, creating a classroom where mistakes are treated as part of learning, and maintaining a safe and comfortable physical environment. So as future teachers, we should make learners feel that the classroom is a place where they can ask questions, make mistakes, and learn without fear of humiliation. The third level is love and belonging needs. This includes friendship, family, acceptance, connection, and feeling that we are part of a group. So, learners needs to feel that they belong in the classroom. And imagine a new learner who always sits alone during group activities. Classmates rarely invite the learner to participate. Even if the learner performs well academically, they may still feel disconnected from the class. Over time, the learner may stop volunteering or avoid group activities. And for instance, during a group activity, the teacher can make sure that every learner has a meaningful role. Instead of allowing the same students to make all the decisions, the teacher can assign roles such as facilitator, recorder, presenter, or materials manager. This give this gives each learner an opportunity to contribute. Teachers can promote belonging by using collaborative activities, encouraging positive peer interaction, respecting differences among learners, making sure everyone has opportunities to participate, and creating an inclusive classroom environment. When learners feel accepted and included, they may become more comfortable participating and working with others. The fourth level is esteem needs. Esteem involves self-confidence, achievement, recognition, competence, and feeling valued. Learners need to feel that they are capable and that their efforts and contributions matter. For example, imagine a learner who understands the lesson and contributes good ideas during group work. However, when asked to present in front of the class, the learner says, "I might be wrong. Someone else should present." This shows that the learner may have the ability but lacks confidence in that ability. So the possible behavior is when esteem needs are not adequately supported, learners may give up easily, avoid participating, lack confidence, avoid leadership opportunities, or lose interest in activities. So as a teachers, we can help build learners' confidence by giving constructive feedback, recognizing meaningful effort and improvement, providing manageable opportunities for success, giving appropriate leadership responsibilities, and helping learners recognize their strengths. For example, instead of simply saying, "Good job," the teacher can say, "Your explanation was clear and you supported your answer with an example." This type of feedback tells the learner specifically what they did well. As future teachers, we should help learners develop confidence without creating unhealthy dependence on praise. The fifth and highest level in Maslow's hierarchy is self-actualization. It refers to reaching one's potential, personal growth, creativity, problem solving, and developing one's abilities. At this level, learners are given opportunities to explore what they can do and develop their potential. For example, imagine that a learner has already completed the required classroom activity. Instead of stopping there, the learner asks, "Can I try another way of solving this problem?" The learner wants to explore an idea, create something new, or challenge themselves. This can demonstrate creativity, curiosity, initiative, and independent thinking. Another example is a teacher can provide extension activities where learners can create their own solutions, conduct simple investigations, design a project, solve problems in different ways, or reflect on their own learning. Teachers should create opportunities for learners to discover their strengths, develop creativity, solve problems, explore their interests, take appropriate challenges, and become more independent learners. For example, if a learner finishes an activity early and proposes a different solution, instead of simply saying, "Just wait for the others," the teacher can allow the learner to explain and explore the idea, as long as it supports the learning objective. This gives the learner an opportunity to develop their potential. In conclusion, understanding learners' need is important because learners may not always be ready to focus on academic tasks when they are experiencing physical, emotional, social, or psychological difficulties. Maslow's hierarchy of needs provides us with a useful framework for understanding factors that may influence learner behavior and motivation. The 5 levels are physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. As future teachers, we should remember that a learner who is hungry, afraid, isolated, or lacking confidence may behave differently from a learner who feels comfortable, safe, accepted, and capable. Therefore, rather than immediately judging a learner's behavior, we should try to understand what may be behind it and determine how we can provide appropriate support. Ultimately, our goal is to create a classroom where learners feel safe, supported, included, valued, and encouraged to reach their potential. Because when we understand our learners, we can teach them more effectively. So that's all, and thank you for listening.